Gang, what is the story? My name is Iron Ian, and you may have been waiting on this one a little while if you paid attention to the last vlog that I posted, where myself, as part of Team Era, we competed at the Western European Championship. I said I would do a review on my performance and that of Beck Phillips, who was also in the same flight as me. So here we are. Better late than never. We are right now 3 days out from Irish Nationals. So it is Wednesday. National starts on Saturday. My little baby boy is down for a sleep at the moment, so I figured this was a good time to take a look at how the competition went. Now, Westerns was my second international competition for Team Ireland, and while it did go better than Iceland last year in 2023, it obviously still wasn't representative of my best efforts, but still came away with some good lessons and came away with some fantastic memories. Very enjoyable experience, particularly first holiday with my family, with my baby and my partner. So I was very happy with that. So we're going to get into the performance. I'm going to give you some insights into what the thought process was with the attempt selection and in essence what we were playing for. So first and foremost, when you look at the competitive field here for the 93s, I wasn't really in contention for any kind of podium finish. Had my knees been in their healthiest position, I do think we could have potentially pushed for the bronze on the squats, but it just wasn't to be with the condition my knees were in at the time. But in any case, we're going to forward through the 74s, the 59s and the 83s. And I believe this is us now in the start of the 93s, yes. So with squats, for the past almost basically a year now, I've been dealing with some issues in my knees. I don't know how to describe it to you. It's this sharp pain as I come out of the hole of a squat. Now, initially, I only felt it when squatting, but after Iceland in 2023, I started to feel it a bit more, even just walking around, and particularly over the early half of 2024 as we were preparing for the baby, and then right after the baby was born, even like standing up and sitting down was quite sore. Doing like a bodyweight lunge was very sore. Since then it's gotten significantly better, but the turning point was definitely coming into this competition. I had been trying to learn to squat in flats, which had been going well, but I think I panic swapped back to heels, and that probably just exacerbated some of the issues. So long story short, I should have kept with the flats because my knee pain was quite bad at this comp, but still, we came and we got it done. So Beck Phillips from Team Ireland is starting us off. So Beck has actually been doing my programming and nutrition coming into this competition, and fantastic job he did. Very insightful, very smart guy. I'm just keeping an eye on the baby here on his little camera. He's all good. And Beck has a fantastic bench press and a fantastic deadlift. Squat's probably the one that he needs to work on the most to build his total. And he won't mind me saying that, because he knows himself. If he can get his squat up to like the 270 to 280 mark, I think Beck, particularly coming into this weekend, is in with a chance of winning nationals. But in any case, here he is opening 242.5 kilos, which again, very impressive weight for an opener. Nice and deep, nice and strong out of the bottom. You'll see Beck is a little bit more hinged over as he comes into the squat. And you see there, he gets a 2-to-1, so he's red lighted on one side for depth. I believe it's this side we're seeing now on the camera. Like, looks all right to me. But that's one of the things when you're squatting in flats, you tend to hinge over more. You have to sit back through your hips a little more. Your knees don't transition as far forward. And for some lifters, it can look a little bit borderline. But it looked good to me there. So I'm out next. 245 kilos, a weight I've opened with many times. In my last off-season after Nationals in February 2023, I had started at bulk, and I was actually squatting 240 against bands for sets of 4 and feeling really good. So this is like a little bit disappointing, bit of a step back in terms of progression, but still I was happy to even lock in some successful attempts. So 245, this felt fine, just didn't feel very snappy. My knees didn't feel incredible during, but they didn't feel awful, so I thought I was in a good position to maybe push some weights here. But a couple of things that had to change in the lead up to this meet. I found that I was in a lot less pain using the A7 rigor mortis sleeves because they provide a lot more compression. But we were told as part of Team Ireland we had to wear SBD sleeves. However, other people at the competition that were also sponsored did actually wear A7. So in hindsight, probably could have worn the A7s. Would it have made a big difference? I don't think it would have made a massive difference to weight on the bar, but I think my perception of the load would have been a bit different. So we're going to forward on to the second attempts here. so we can see how they move. So Beck and I jumped to the same weight as far as I know, 255 kilos. This is all parts I could probably just edit out to make it cleaner. In any case, here we go, 255 for my second attempt. It's a 10 kilo jump from the opening attempt. I was confident in this. I was like, this is going to be fine. This is around the heaviest I took in prep, 2.5 kilos off. I think in the prep I took the best was 252.5 and it moved really well. So I was like, okay, grand, this should move fine and I'd probably be okay to push 262 to 265. This did not move how I thought it was going to. When I hit the hole, I got a very jarring pain in both knees, but particularly on the right side. I think you might be able to see it here. Just that little bit there. It's when the knees start to come in. Now some people, it's knee valgus. Some people call this like a problem. It's not. It's a lot of it's the adductor contracting. But it wasn't too bad. I walked off. I had a chat with Ben Harrison of Chaos Gym, who was helping to coach on the day, and we agreed. Nice easy jump, just 260. Now you'll see in a moment. That 260 ended up being the most I could have possibly pushed on the day with how I hit the hole. Again, very, very jarring and uncomfortable. But I did get it back to the top. But anyway, we've got Beck out now for his second attempt, 255 kilos as well. So again, 12.5 kilo jump from his opening attempt. You'll see even with Beck's build, he's very, very upper body heavy. He's a big muscular guy. This is obviously reflected in his bench press. One of the best bench press athletes we have in the RHPF at the moment, and one of the stronger benches on in the under 93 kilo weight class. So nice and steady walkout, assumes his position. Again, depth looks good to me from this angle. Very strong out of the hole. 3 whites. So again, best outcome, 3 whites without dispute. So at these international competitions, for anyone unaware, there is a jury. So if you get a 2-1, either for you or against you, the jury can review the footage and decide to overturn the lift. So in that particular case, obviously Beck got 3 whites. There was no overturning of anything. There couldn't have been anyways. It was a good lift, but on his first attempt, you notice he got 2 whites, 1 red. That could have potentially been overturned, but again, it was a good attempt. So here I come for my last attempt. 260 kilos, just a 5 kilo jump. Now 260 is a weight that I've hit before many times. It's actually 10 kilos below my sleeved max. But at this point, even walking out and as I was setting up, I took my time because I could feel my knees very, very badly. Particularly my right knee was not very comfortable. And I was thinking if I just use as much of the time as I have, because you'll see on the international platform, there's not much music. When it hits 30 seconds, there's a loud beep. So I knew when I at least got that far, I'd use 30 seconds. And this, I think I hit the hole a little unstable. See that? I hit it like a little bit fast. So I struggle on the way out. Here's where I really start working. Now I do get it back to the top. And I get the rack command. And then I get 2 blues and 1 red, right? Now, a few people argued with this. They were like, they probably, I don't know what they red lighted you for. I did not get that lift. Now, I think the MC said it was for downward motion. I don't think it was downward. I don't think my knees were locked. And frankly, I was not in control of the bar. If those guys hadn't grabbed it, I probably would have tipped forward and misplaced my foot. I don't think I would have fallen with the bar now or anything like that. But I wasn't getting that lift. So they were very, very much correct to give me reds on that one. So we'll move on quickly to the bench press, which of all the lifts on the day went the best for me. Like deadlifts went fine too, but of all the lifts for me on that particular day, they went the best. So scooting things across now onto the bench press. Even at that, I believe I've the lightest bench in the whole flight, and that just speaks volumes to the standards of the under 93 kilo weight class here. I'm opening on 157. Which again probably is not a huge opener by any means, but on international platform we like to open nice and light just to get on the scoreboard, because again it's very different to compete domestically. You'll even see this bench, the Rogue rack we're using is very different. More often than not in Ireland we use EOR combo racks and we use the Eleiko combo rack. So I've since decided as well for my last international I don't take lift-offs. I was having a bit of bother with the TC. They kept being upset about my wrist wraps, thinking they were too high, or like this, the little finger loop was sticking out. Like in the rule book, as long as it's not here, so it can't touch the bar and can't assist, I believe it's not really a problem. But hey, we got it anyway. We got out there. So again, self setup. I got a really bad handout in Iceland for Western Europe, so I've since decided I'm always going to hand out my own lifts. So nice control to the chest, pretty fair press command, nice and easy off the chest. Very, very, very easy opener, I will say. Definitely conservative on the bench press attempts, but again, I was a bit fried after squats. Very happy with that. You'll see like the platform was a little talky from the competition earlier that morning. One weird thing with internationals, I know the two Andrews spoke about it on their podcast recently, they should probably put down a mat or something for the bench press, because you'll always see people's feet slipping, particularly in the later flights if there was already a deadlift session on that morning, where the baby powder, the talc, gets all over the platform. So we're going to forward on to Beck. All these other guys, again, incredibly strong. We're just looking at the Team Ireland athletes for the moment. And so you'll see some very impressive openers here. 172 from Asensio. And Beck also opening at 172.5 kilos. Beck also is a self handoff. And very, very good bench press athlete. Like, so he is, so spoiler, Beck is opening on what I finished on. So I took 172 for my third and final attempt, which actually again moved very, very easy. Probably not as easy as Beck makes it move here. Yeah, like really smooth, really easy there from Beck. Again, very impressive bench press athlete. So we're just going to forward on here to the second attempt. Beck got 3 whites. Don't think there was any harsh calls on the bench press from what I could see anyway. I believe I've skipped myself completely on the second, so we'll go back a couple of attempts. But in any case, in terms of sometimes the question will always come like, how is the competition run? How does it compare to domestic meets? This was very well run in my opinion. I was very impressed with the venue. It was Doubletree by Hilton in Malta. The Maltese Federation that obviously are running it did an excellent job with it. The locals are all very nice that I could see. The venue was great. Staff were fine. 165 here, second attempt, 7.5 kilos up. Easy. Very, very smooth, very easy. No real questions on it there. Probably could have opened with that, to be honest. But it's so bizarre because obviously when you're making weight, now I didn't have a lot of weight to drop. Beck can probably tell you, I drop, with the way I like to drop weight coming into a meet, I train as heavy as I can for as long as I can, and then I like to do a gut cut. So I will reduce food density and replace most of my calories with liquids. So like instead of having like eggs and bagels, I might have chocolate milk instead, make up around the same calories. We'll cut fiber down and food that sits in your gut for longer, so veg, fruits and things like that, just for about the week of comp, maybe 10 days. Start to reduce it and you'll notice your weight start to plummet down. So actually by the time we got to Malta and I was getting ready to weigh in like the day before and all that, I was actually having to eat to keep the weight on because I dropped to like 91.5 at one stage. Ended up weighing at 92.1 or 92.2 I think. So Beck out now for a second attempt, 180 kilos. I'm very confident that Beck is going to have a huge day at Nationals. I realise now actually as we move our way through the bench, I skipped Beck's third squat, so I want to go back to it now in a moment because there's a bit of a story to Beck's third squat. We watched me fucking fuck up mine and then we skipped Beck's. You'll see though here from the scoreboard, yes, Beck finished on 255 as well, so he did miss his third, but there was a couple of circumstances around that I thought were interesting. Nice and controlled. There you go, 180, moving, I would say maybe slightly heavier than an opener, but definitely lighter than a second. So let me just bring it back here. There's me fucking grinding my life. Let's see, where's Big Beck? Should be 1 or 2 attempts before this. So, as I mentioned, there is a story with Beck's squat that I want to talk about. Oh yeah, that guy, he got his attempt in, luckily, because he almost didn't. So Beck's third attempt on squats, you'll see he comes out very close to the clock time. We're almost run out, so pay attention to the 1 minute in the corner here. Somebody, I think from the Spanish team, had picked up Beck's belt and walked away. So they brought it back down to the warm-up room, which was down and away from the platform. So as I walked off for my squat, I had to give Beck my belt. I didn't know why he needed it. I think I didn't know if he thought I had taken his, but in any case, he's wearing my belt here. So he was a little bit flustered, a little bit out of sorts. If you've never had to put on somebody else's belt, it does feel different. So his composure here was quite good, particularly here because I believe he gets a replace command. So he looks good here. He looks like he's standing upright to me. His knees do look locked from the front, but he gets a replace. 18 seconds left. So yeah, they're like knees. He's got loads of time. He does get the command, right? So you can imagine the amount of composure. This takes 8 seconds left on the clock. He's not wearing his own belt. He's just gotten a replace command. He has to walk out very fast. You have to get the command before the clock runs out. Gets it at the 1 second mark. But unfortunately, you can see there from the front, it doesn't even look as deep as the ladder 2. So he gets reds from all sides. Doesn't get it on depth. So watching from this angle, let's take a look. Yeah, again, I would say borderline. There was a possibility on any other platform he could have been given it, but he wasn't given it here. Refereeing standards are extremely high, so look, it is what it is. But again, that was a bit of drama heading into that third attempt. Now, in the back here after this, he was a bit fucking pissed off, as you would be. His belt was gone missing. Belts cost a lot of money. We did end up finding it, but we moved on to bench, and as you could see so far, he's put up 180. We'll get into the third attempts now. There's mine. Let's bring it back here a small bit. So again, I'm opening now, or I'm finishing out on 172.5. I was very happy with this as a third attempt. It's a 2.5 kilo personal best. And it felt very, very easy. It felt very, very good. I was very happy with this. Nice little strut into the platform. I'm rocking those new SBD wrist straps that had only just released. I actually bought them down on the counter in the lobby the day before. I should say, actually, Jacob Pratch bought them for me as a gift. You're not really meant to change equipment like that, but I was like, fuck it, YOLO. I'm not really going to be competitive here. I'm here to just represent, so I may as well try them out. So check it out. This is my third and final attempt at 172.5. Like quite easy, a little bit at the top of the slowdown. I say I could have potentially taken 175, maybe even 177 on the day, all going well. But look, I'll take that win and use that momentum coming into Nationals. If you didn't hear already, I'm sure you have if you follow me on Instagram. I've actually gone up a weight class. I've come up to the 105 kilo weight class from the under 93s. More so I just don't have to diet, as I'm sure you heard me mention earlier on. We've had a baby this year, myself and my partner. He was on holidays with us here in Malta. I believe you can hear him on the stream shouting when the British national anthem is playing for the guy who won the under 93s. So dieting with a new baby, he's just over 5 months old now, is just tough. Little guy wakes up a good bit, but like it's just to give that little bit of relief to us for the prep for me for this. Again, not really aiming to be my most competitive. I'm here to take part, put up as big a total as I possibly can, but just keep ticking away, gaining competition experience, lifting at big meets, and by the time we get into 2025 and beyond, I'm sure I can push to be more competitive again. So we're going to look here for Beck's third and final attempt on the bench press, which I believe he picked up a medal for. Either this or the deadlift. I think it might have actually been the deadlift now in hindsight. So Beck is finishing out, I believe it's 185. Which, again, I think is relatively conservative for Beck. He's a very strong bench press athlete. I would not be surprised to see Beck pushing in the range of 192.5 at Nationals. I realise as well now as the broadcast goes on, my head is down this part of the screen, so you're missing out some of the details here. Probably should have popped myself over here by the lights, but in any case, we move. Yeah, like very smooth. I would say that moved about like a second. So very strong. I think there's a lot more in the tank there for Beck. I think a lot of the time if I'm going to like, not level of criticism, but like just constructive feedback from observing Beck and lifting out a good few to say, losing to him a few times. I actually think Beck commits an awful lot to the squat because he wants to get better at the squat, which is only natural. But I think there's so much in that bench press and the deadlift. Like, man, this guy is brewing a huge deadlift. So here I am, opening attempt on the deadlift, 272.5. Easy enough. Knees were, again, they're a little sore on the deadlift, so I'm not dropping the hips in as low as I would have previously. So it's a little bit more like a stiff leg deadlift. This, again, temporary technique alteration just so I don't have to experience that knee pain. Luckily now, coming into the Nationals, it's not as uncomfortable as it has been, which is great. I'm just going to give you guys a quick pause here. Alright, so the baby woke up from his nap and I just had to go get him. So if you hear a piano going crazy in the background, that's what that is. In any case, we are onto the deadlift. So 272.5 opener moved grand. As I was mentioning, a little bit of a technique change for me, just temporarily with the knees. I'm confident I'll be able to put up something a little bit heavier at Nationals. But again, the turnaround time is like 7 weeks, maybe less. So it's more so just ideally just going in and having a good day. Beck now opening on 290. Pretty comfortable weight for Beck. I think when he has a massive amount of intent behind him, Beck could probably pull close enough to 330, which he might have to at Nationals if he's trying to lock in the win. Yeah, very easy, very comfortable, nice and strong to the top. No real questions asked. Very convincing opener. So with this venue in Doubletree by Hilton, the warm-up room was actually like downstairs, like a little bit of a walk away, so you wouldn't actually know the lifting was going on if you didn't head up. So we kind of had to get our warm-ups done and then come up to this holding area. The holding area, I remember, was really warm as well. It was very, very hot. The whole venue was quite warm as well. Second attempt for me, 287.5. This didn't move incredibly. It moved okay. So I tried to like switch on a bit more, but I think that kind of like messed up my intent. I think I gripped a little bit wider, but also just didn't move amazingly. Like it didn't move awful either, let's be honest. Like it still moved grand. There's a couple more kilos left in the tank. I really wanted to take a crack at 300. Alright? I was being handled by Ben Harrison from Chaos, and Ben was like, let's go like 295. I was like, how about even like 297? But he's like, let's just take the safe third. I completely get what he's getting at. Regardless, it wouldn't have been a total PB. It wouldn't have changed anything about my ranking. It just would have been a small personal best for me on the power bar. I've never done anything over 295 on the power bar in competition. I have pulled it in training a couple of times, but still, that's not really where it counts. So it is what it is. Looking now for Beck's second attempt. Here we go. So Beck is now up to 310. And again, pretty comfortable weight for Beck. The baby is listening intently to every word I'm saying over here. Yeah, very nice, very easy. Good. I know later now they put Beck's third attempt in, I believe it's 322.5, but then they change it back down to 315 because they're waiting to see. So you can do this in competition. You can change the third attempt twice. You can put it in, change it, and change it again, and then that would be what you're finally lifting. So I think they were trying to guarantee Beck a bronze medal, which I think they did, but I think had he pulled 2.5 kilos more, he actually would have got the silver, which is a shame. So final attempt for me, 295. It's 5 kilos up from my last competition before this, which was November 2023, the Christmas qualifier, and it matches my best deadlift at Nationals 2023 in February, but is significantly better than my last international outing. I only pulled 280 at Iceland last year at Western Euros. It was a very, very tough week. A friend of mine had passed away. It wasn't really locked in. So happy enough to finish with that. I do think the extra 5 kilos is there now looking at it, but look, we'll take what we can get. Happy enough to finish out 8 for 9 day, 722.5 kilo total. Grand. Like, do I think it's the best representation of my lifting? Probably not, but it's the best I could do on the day. So it is what it is. I think potentially a bit more on the bench, a bit more on the deadlift. I think had I really gone, if I had gotten everything I think I could have gotten on the day, probably would have finished closer to 732.5. But look, that is still including the missed squat. I think I could have put up a 177 bench, maybe 175 being conservative. Definitely could have put 297 deadlift, maybe 300. Still wouldn't change anything about the podium positions, but as an own little personal goal. But again, these international comps, Scott Dean says it best. He goes, you have to pay the IPF tax. So basically every time you go international, your performance is going to suffer a little bit. So Beck is out next for his final attempt, and it was adjusted down to 315. And you'll see yourselves here, it moves handy enough. If you understand anything about Beck's lifting, you'll know this is fine. So it puts him ranked 3rd to 2nd on deadlifts. I'm so sure he could have pulled 322.5 had he really wanted to, but he takes a nice conservative. I've seen him pull 317.5 at Christmas qualifier in November 2023, so I think he could have added that weight on here. Bye-bye. The baby's having a little moan at his, he has a little mirror on his piano thing, and he likes to look at himself and scare himself. But he's okay. So you see here, pretty comfortable. Definitely another, 7.5 kilos there if you really wanted it. Tempos it back to the floor just to do a bit of finesse. Nice and easy. So it locks in a 755 kilo total. 7.5 kilos below his all-time best. But again, on the international stage, that's still pretty good effort and a great day of lifting from Beck. And I'm pretty happy with my own performance as well. Again, given a lot of the externals, and I don't think we should always blame externals, but we had just had the baby in May. That was obviously a big adjustment. Lifestyle change, lack of sleep, recovery is compromised. Naturally making weight and things like that. Dealing with the knee issues. But overall, pretty happy with the day. I think on my best day, I probably could have gotten closer to 740, maybe 745. But at the end of the day, that's the day that we had. So we have Open Nationals this coming weekend. If you haven't decided yet, do get yourself down to the Radisson Blu Hotel at Dublin Airport to watch, or watch on the Irish PF live stream, which I'm sure they will have linked on their stories. In any case, gang, go have another great week. Hopefully we'll be back with more content soon. You're waiting on this one a little while. Maybe we'll do one for Nationals too. Go have a great one.